We're sowing Sweet William seed today on Pots and Trowels, and that's brought to you with the support of Cobra Garden and King Seeds. Hello and welcome to Pots and Trowels. Well, we're going to do a little bit of seed sowing today to grow some cut flowers for next year. But before that, just a reminder that as well as our weekly videos, we also do the Pots and Trowels podcast, where we chat about all things gardening, and you can get that from your normal podcast provider. So what are we going to do today? We're going to sow some wonderful Sweet William. And Sweet William is a bit of an old-fashioned cottage garden flower, and I've literally just this morning picked the last few stems from the ones in the garden, and these have been flowering since May, and we just keep picking them and picking them. And the great thing about them is, apart from being very easy to grow, they last for ages when you take them into the house, and they've got a very delicate fragrance as well. And you can either have them on their own or pick a few other flowers and a bit of foliage, and they just look great to have in the house, or for gifts if you're going to visit friends. So now is the time to do a little bit of seed sowing, because we tend to grow them as a biennial, which means you sow them one season, they then flower the next. Sometimes, having said that, if the plants are strong and healthy, they will go on for a second year flowering, but normally the most vigour is in that first season after sowing. So it's easy to sow every year. So I've got a couple of different varieties here that I want to grow for next year. The one I've already sown is a double one, quite a tall growing one that has double flowers and grows to about 60 centimetres, 2 feet. And this one here is what we call an auricular eye, where they get the lighter centre. And this particular mix, the auricular eye mixed, is all like that but in different colours. And this one is 45 centimetres, 18 inches tall, so ideal for cutting to put in a small vase. So sowing is very, very simple, and the reason we do it now is because normally the flowers would be coming to an end, they would naturally drop their seed, and then the whole process starts again. So if you haven't grown them before, get some seed in now. Small plant pot, and I'm using a fairly fine compost. I've added a little bit of vermiculite just to make it suitable for seed sowing. We don't want anything too coarse. And then I do like to have a level surface to sow on. So I've got my little presser here, but you can use the base of a plant pot, and it just firm it very gently, and it just means that we've got a level compost to sow on like that. Okay, so seeds, you get quite a lot in a packet, and if you're not going to sow all of these, remember the tip is that if you seal the packet back up again when you've finished, put it in the fridge, they will stay fresh for next year. So you don't have to buy a packet every year. And there's our seed. So we don't need a lot. I think there's 500 seeds in a packet, so you can grow a lot. In this pot, I probably only need about 30 seedlings. So I've got a pinch of seed on my hand there. I'm not going to count them, but I'm going to sow them so they look fairly evenly and thinly. And I know that's going to be difficult for Jill to see on the camera, but I can just see where they're falling. So we don't want to overcrowd the seedlings, otherwise they'll get tall and leggy. So I think that is adequate. I've actually got a few too many on my hand. So I'm going to pop those back into the packet. Now, if you want to have a go at these, Kings are very kindly offering all followers of Pots and Trowels a 10% discount on all of their seeds. And it's for 2024, so it's valid up until the end of this year. So you need to go onto their website, which is www.kingseeds.com, and then put in the code, which is PT 2024, PT 2024, and you'll get a 10% discount on any seed you buy. So all we need to do then is just cover them over, and I've got a bit of compost. You could use a sieve, but I'm just going to do this very thinly like that. So I probably want about 1/2 centimetre, 1/4 of an inch of compost. That just keeps them moist and they will germinate through that. And I've made my label because I've done 2 types, and then we can just pop them on the bench. Now, to germinate, they don't need much in the way of heat. They want to be somewhere, if you're doing this outside, then somewhere shady. Certainly not with the sun on them, or they'll just dry up and crisp. So I'm doing them in the greenhouse. I might actually just pop them under the bench once I've watered them, just until they germinate and then bring them back into the light. So they certainly don't need to be in a propagator. You could do it on a cool, shady windowsill as well. And then when the seedlings are through in 2 or 3 weeks time, and we've got seedlings about an inch or so tall, what I'll do is then prick those out into some trays, grow them on. So the aim is to have nice, strong, bushy plants by about September, October time. And then we plant them in the garden. And what they do is grow quite big through the autumn and next spring. And then from May onwards next year, we'll get our wonderful flowers, just like this, that you can enjoy for many, many weeks in the house. There you go, Jill, some Sweet Williams for you there.
Thank you.
So thank you for watching Pots and Trowels. Next week we're going to speak to a specialist grower and get a masterclass in growing agapanthus. So we'll see you then. Bye.